Hello, happy people. I hope you are having an amazing day today. So today, just as a heads up, I'm not showing my normal self because the camera stand on my tripod broke this morning. So I'm going to be showing you pictures and that sort of a thing. So I wanted to give you my top 10 comedies of all time for you folks. Now, this is not big with me. I know a lot of people just love comedies. They love going back and rewatching the same comedies over and over again. My friends screw up endlessly quoting things like Monty Python and the Holy Grail and things like that, as if they were some sort of like huge amount of things you could sort of read some great stuff from, but they weren't intended by the creators to be anything more than a fast little pins and that sort of thing. And I think the same thing is true with our non-comedy films out there too. So when a comedy film tries to do something better, because most comedy films just aren't, they're just trying to be a little entertainment, then I typically might go back to it sooner or later, but pretty rarely do I actually go back to a comedy film over more than once or twice for you folks. And so anyway, those are my little quick caveats for them. So number 10 is 2012, and this is going to be my most recent film. Pitch Perfect number 1 is directed by Jason Moore and starring Anna Kendrick, Skylar Astin, and Rebel Wilson, among a huge number of other cast level plots. I saw this on disc from a rental. I did not see it in the theaters, and was definitely very sad by that too. I think that each of them are different and better in their own ways. I think the music in this one's the best. I think the plot in the second one is the best story, and I think that the finalists and the bad guys in the third ones are the best. And I think so. Each of them has their own strong points, if that makes sense. So that's Pitch Perfect 2012, the most recent film from here. Love it lots. And I said I had this entire soundtrack from this and all the other ones. Listen to it regularly. Probably put like 30 or 40. I'll just put it on, just listen to it. And I even did this recently when I interviewed him a couple days ago. It's a great stuff. Love it lots. Number 9 is Bringing Up Baby from 1938 by Howard Hanks, starring Katharine Hepburn and Cary Grant. This sort of was a box office bomb and sort of put Katharine Hepburn on the blacklist of things, but it's an absolutely classic screwball comedy and such. And when you go back and watch it, critics, fans, watch it on TV, that sort of thing, you'll realize that Bringing Up Baby is actually really, really strong stuff, and that sort of thing. It actually started to make money when it was released after she won for a film that'll be hitting up a little bit to put her back on the map in a major way. But it's great stuff, love it lots. And so that is Bringing Up Baby. In this case, she is a skitsy, and Cary Grant, is playing a paleontologist, and that sort of a thing. I think he does an absolutely classic job too. Love them lots together. And number 8 is the highest hitting thing that is regularly seen, regularly cited by a lot of people. That is okay, but I wouldn't consider it the best film ever. But I have watched it like maybe 4 or 5 times, but not as many people, nor am I somebody who endlessly quotes it, and that is The Princess Bride, 1987, directed by Rob Reiner and starring Carrie Elwes, Mandy Patinkin, and Chris Sarandon, among others. Chris Sarandon, by the way, is from West Virginia, so I want to give him a shout out. But yeah, this is great stuff. Love them lots. I've actually read the novel, thought the novel in a literature class. I thought it was okay. I liked it. That was based on, but I was like, why am I being required to read this when I could be required to read something that was actually influential on literature right in high school. I had to read it for a literature class. It wasn't just for fun. If it was for fun, I would have liked it more, I think. But I felt like I should have been getting something better, like Of a Mice and Men or something like that, right? Or a Shakespearean play. All right, anyway. So that's number 8, The Princess Bride. Number 7 is the directorial debut by John Hughes from 1984. This is 16 Candles, starring Molly Ringwald, Paul Dooley, and Justin Henry, and Anthony Michael Hall, among others. This definitely was a strong film, although it has some issues. You can see some of the directorial debut stuff and so forth. So I don't think it's the best film, but it's great. It's a good film. It's a much more realistic portrayal of growing up young and that sort of a thing. So I think it's good stuff. And that is 16 Candles, number 7, from 1984. Number 6 is the next, and this is the one I was releasing to earlier. This is 1940s. This is the Philadelphia Story. It's directed by George Cukor and stars Cary Grant, Katharine Hepburn, and James Stewart. Love all three of them here. This put her back on a major way. So the Philadelphia Story was a play that was actually written for Katharine Hepburn in between the areas after she was sort of blackballed by Hollywood because she was box office poison. And then she would, it was written for her. She started in it. Everybody loved it. And she actually was able to secure the rights to it so that when people went to it, she was able to force herself not only to make herself the star, but also to hire her cast but have screen control, that sort of a thing. So she hired the director, that was George Cukor, that they were good friends with and worked together before. He also hires Cary Grant too, who she worked with prior to a couple of times, and the studio asked for James Stewart to be put here because they weren't sure that she would be able to sell that money. The Philadelphia Story is an absolute classic black and white film, one of my favorites, so it should be here. It's an absolute comedy too. Love it lots for those reasons. That's the Philadelphia Story from 1940. All right, now a top 5 proper. All right, so number 5 is Dr. Strangelove, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying About Blah Blah Blah, from 1964, directed by Stanley Kubrick. It's also in black and white too. Stars Peter Sellers in 3 different roles. Love him so much. And George C. Scott too. I think this is definitely Peter Sellers' film, although Stanley Kubrick as the director should obviously get some credit too, but I think that Sellers absolutely was this film. This is a darker, more satirical take on the things that are happening in the Cold War level odds. So that's Dr. Strangelove at number 5. Strong stuff out of down. All right, now number 4 on up are all more modern films for you folks. Number 4 might be a little surprised, but I actually saw it in theaters, and so I think that might bias me a little bit. I'll let you know that apart from. It's The Birdcage. So this is the 1996 version, not the original version that influenced the French version that this is based off of too. So there's a lot of back and forth, and that's everything. But this is again 1996's. It's directed by Mick Nichols, starring Robin Williams, Gene Hackman, Nathan Lane, who I think absolutely owns this part, and Diane West too. Weistra. Love him lots. I think it's an absolute classic comedy. Love it lots. I think it's interesting. It's fun. I love what it happens. I love the props. I think the comedy sells. I think Gene Hackman does a incredible job in this role. So I think he absolutely is a classic. Then is The Birdcage from 1996. All right, so number 3 is an absolute classic. Absolutely has something to say. It's also by John Hughes. It's the follow-up to the 16 Candles. This is, of course, Breakfast Club from 1995, directed by Hughes, and starring many from Emilio Estevez to Ali Sheedy. Love it lots. I think the absolute classics here are incredibly strong. Maybe lots of money. It's got lots of things to say now. The reason why it's heading back here to the number 3 spot is because, like I said earlier with the 16 Candles too, it does have some, I mean, you could definitely tell it's a sophomore effort, right, by Hughes. He's still learning some of the techniques. I don't think the marijuana jokes work. So, or the extended scenes and that sort of a thing. I don't think they make sense either. So I don't think it's the best. I don't think it's the perfect film and that sort of a thing, but I think it's great. That's why it's hitting the number 3 spot. And again, it has something to say, which is also another reason why it's hitting here. And number 2, the highest hitting film that is not something that has something to say about anything. It's just funny. Is Ghostbusters from 1982 by Ivan Reitman and starring Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Sigourney Weaver, and Harold Ramis. It's an absolute classic in my mind. Puts everybody on the map in a major way. Made a lot of money. I love its send-up of the 80s. It's an absolute classic. It's funny stuff. Love it lots. It's the highest film that only is funny and doesn't have anything to say. But I think he'll probably agree with me. Ghostbusters probably should deserve to be up here. It's a great film. For many reasons, love it lots. And that's sort of everything. All right, now number 1 is an absolute classic. Love it lots. And I think you will too once you hear it. This is the highest hitting film for comedies. It's the highest hitting film for me that also has something to say about stuff. And I love it lots. I always cry when I watch it too. And that is, of course, Groundhog Day. Number 1 by 1993 by Harold Ramis and starring Bill Murray and Andy McDowell. the core concept of reliving your life until you live it better. For others, is an absolute classic. Love it lots. For all those reasons, it's strong stuff. Love it lots, and so you will too. And there's of course Groundhog Day. And that's from 1993 by Harold Ramis and starring Bill Murray and Annie McDowell. And so there you are. And if you're a Bill Murray fan, you'll be happy that 2 of his films hit back to back at number 2 and number 1. Although I think that Ghostbusters is definitely more of a cast where he has some stuff too. But I think Dan Aykroyd and Sigourney Weaver, Harold Ramis, and all the other ones, folks, and all the other people, they all said something to say about it too. But you get the idea. But yeah, alrighty. So there you are. So once again, here my top 10. My number 10 is Pitch Perfect from 2012, directed by Jason Morris, my most recent one. Number 9 is Bringing Up Baby from 38. Number 8 is The Princess Bride from 87. Number 7 is 16 Candles from 84. Number 6 is The Philadelphia Story from 1940. Number 5 is Doctor Strangelove from 64. Number 4 is The Birdcage from 96. Number 3 is The Breakfast Club from 85. Number 2 is Ghostbusters from 84. Number 1 is Groundhog Day from 93. For you folks, alrighty. And so there you are. Those are my top 10 films, once again, for comedies of all times. So what did you think about them? Have you seen them? Did you agree or disagree with them? Would you put them in this order? What would be your top 10? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. Remember, I'm not a trained critic. I don't make movies for fun or for work or anything like that, so I'm not somebody who can speak at any great degree, so your opinion will absolutely be as valid as mine is, because mine is not a trained one, right? So I'd love to hear what your top 10 comedies of all film are. I thought it'd be fun to do this right after I did my top 10 action films a couple of weeks ago. I also did recently my top 10 silent films, my top 5 rather silent films. And I just recently did a look at why I like horror films and why recent horror films just haven't really made me happy. And then I compared and contrasted 3 recent films that I do like with 3 recent films I don't like. To talk about sort of what I like them in real life. Alrighty. Stuff like that, check that stuff out, and that sort of a thing. That stuff's happening a lot. Alrighty, so those are once again my top 10 comedies of all time for you folks. And if you like that, check out. We'll go watch my previous top 10s of all these on my Friday. I like to dedicate on this channel to those films and older things and that sort of thing. Love it a lot. Also, you can check out tomorrow is Serial Saturday, when I do older serials from that sort of a thing. Or tomorrow I'm doing one of my favorite serials of all time from the First Doctor. It's from 65. It's called The Web Planet. It's a six-parter of a lots and that sort of thing. So that's happening. Love it. If you consider that awesome stuff, awesome. Also tomorrow I also do a number. On Wednesday I did a review of Heroes of Might and Magic 2 for video games. It's a 1996 video game that I played heavily when I was a first year and second year in college. Loved it lots for those reasons. Awesome. So I did video games of those too. On Monday, I did a review of the last of the G3 stuff in the Dungeons and Dragons era from 78 Scary Gygaxes, number G3, the Hall of the Fire Giant King. Love lots. So if you like those things and these older stuff, I also do 3 reviews a week of older written things that you read, like books or short stories or poems sometimes too, or novellas, that sort of thing. And the fantasy, horror, and science fiction genres that this covers. So those are your passion. Definitely check out those things. Also, you can also hit the like button, the subscribe button too, to be notified, and then my bell icon if you're feeling frisky, to be notified of my videos. Each week I got those 7 videos that I talked about earlier. Your friends know too, or you just watch what you want to watch. I'm not going to pass any judgment if you don't like some of that stuff. If you're only here for the movies, no issues at all. Meanwhile, I'm not going to lose any sleep. Also, if you like my thoughts on these things, as a reminder, as you can tell from all these things that are older, that's the passion of this channel, for finding these older things for you folks. That's also why I got the name. The worst thing about new books is I had to keep us from reading the old ones, right, and so forth. And so it's not saying that they're bad, right, but they're just typically better ones, or the ones that are based off of are typically available. Not in this case, you're watching them as movies, but you get the idea. And then finally, I want to thank you so very, very much for taking some time out of your day and investing it and watching my videos, right? Because we all have so many things that are happening, right, in our lives, and we're pulled in so many different directions, right? So the fact that you spent this time with me That's incredibly humbling, and I appreciate it so very, very much. So thanks again, and have an amazing day.